Henrietta Lacks was an African American woman, a melanated woman whose cancer cells are the source of the HeLa cell line, the first immortalized human cell line and one of the most important cell lines in medical research. Now, what that really means is Henrietta Lacks, her cells are still being used today to cure all kinds of different diseases, from cancer to AIDS to diabetes to brain cancer, you name it. It's been immortalized and utilized, and it is what medical research is used 100%. There's really not another line of medication that's been used in the medical world that really competes with this breakthrough that Henrietta Lacks contributed without her consent to the world that we live in to this very day. Just want to look at some of the quick facts about her really quick. Cause of death: cervical cancer. Really? Really? Now, just meditate on what I just said about her cells. But she was taken out of this world by cervical cancer. Let's see what cervical cancer is. A malignant tumor of the cervix, the lowermost part of the uterus. A malignant tumor of the lowermost part of the uterus, womb. That's interesting. That can be prevented by a pap smear. Really? Screening and HPV vaccine. Oh, another vaccine that can cure that. That's awesome. What's going on, guys? So I want to hop on and just talk a little bit tonight, in a more extensive manner, about what's happening with me and what's going on and what has been going on with a lot of melanated women for a very, 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 very long time. Our U.S. government is wicked as hell. Let me just say that first and foremost. And let me also say that one of the reasons why these people are operating in such a bold mentality and manner is because they really believe they are above the law. They believe this because they understand that most people in the world really can care less about melanated women. You know, what I find to be even more disgusting is how these dirty ass, ridiculous ass Mexicans have taken the place of most white people's hatred and their misplaced mentality on superiority. But it also will explain why they're allowing these illegals over here in the abundant manner that they're doing it, and setting them up in housing instead of worrying and trying to fix the homeless issue that we deal with right here on our own soil. But instead of worrying about that and trying to fix that, they're setting these illegals up over here. And haven't we been dealing with this shit for about 8 years? With these illegals coming over here and they're just being able to do whatever the hell they want to do. Now, I don't have anything against anybody, really. I really don't. But I can't help but to see and notice who's taken on the throne of racism and hatred and superiority and this hallucination of these defaulted people trying to downcast the blueprint. So, with that being said, I know I've talked about how I am being sex trafficked, and I am being stalked and monitored by police officers and different individuals who are working for the police and who are working for the secret society, the Freemasons. The Freemasons. But I also want to put in how I do understand that there is an element of experiment going on as well with my attack. I've talked about a few times how I've known for quite some time, since I would say 2021, that something has been put into my body and then taken out. There's been something being placed in my body and then taken out. Radiation is being used to try to ruin my womb. There's videos of my all the radiation burns on my thighs. That comes from radiation abuse in the vaginal area. I've talked about how they're using these applicators that look like tampons to insert into my vaginal area, into my womb, uh, hitting me with radiation, trying to destroy my womb, trying to destroy the cells, the nerve endings in my womb. So there has been a clear attack on my womb, on my uterus, a clear one. Because, see, in the beginning, they were trying to get me pregnant. They were trying to enforce this rape, this perpetual rape through sex trafficking to get me pregnant so that they could take the child and do whatever type of research. And I'm not even going to get into that. I know what it is, but I'm not going to get into it. But this was the goal in the beginning. And when that wasn't working quick enough in the way that they wanted it to, they began trying to destroy my womb so that I wouldn't be able to have a free life to have children if I choose to on my own. Evil, wicked shit. But like I said, I mean, this is not the first time that this sort of thing has happened to a melanated woman. This has happened to Henrietta Lacks. And I mention her name and no one even gets excited. No one even knows who she is most of the time. And they talk about her like she's some sort of hero, like she gave these things to this medical research corporation with consent, and she didn't. They murdered all of her children because all of her children carried the same genetic code. One of her daughters, they took her and put her in a mental institution and took her apart. They took out her eyeballs, they took out all of her female parts. Let's see what the statistic is on fibroids in the melanated woman in America. Let's check on that real quick. It says, according to the NCBI, Black women have a higher prevalence of uterine fibroids than white women. A study found that 60% of African American women have uterine fibroids by the age of 35, while 40% of Caucasian women have them by age 35. By age 50, 80% of African American women have uterine fibroids compared to less than 40% of Caucasian women. Really? What is a fibroid? So, a fibroid is a non cancerous growth in the uterus that can develop during a woman's childbearing years. Oh, really? The cause of fibroids isn't well understood, or it's not, but we know that Black women get them the most, right? Risk factors include a family history of fibroids, obesity, early onset of puberty. Wow, and only Black women get those? They get those the most? Really? But we don't know why. We don't know why we get them. Hmm. I wonder, like, what happens when you get a fibroid and you want to get rid of them? Well, typically, they want to take out your uterus. They take out your uterus, is what they want to do. And that's what they do. They take it out, then the woman has to go on hormones because the balance of her testosterone and her estrogen is thrown off. So to prevent her from turning into possibly a man on a physical level, she has to start taking estrogen because she's no longer producing it. And, of course, you're having a child, that's out the window. Wow, that's amazing that, women, Black women, with all these different races around here, are the ones that get those the most. Hmm, interesting. Samantha Mendez, forensic nurse over at Honor. Is it Honor Health? Yeah, it's Honor Health Hospital. This is what she looks like. So Miss Mendez was instrumental in preventing me from getting the Plan B whenever I was calling in and reporting my being raped. That's a part of the SANE exam, which is the exam that women who have been victims of sexual assault are able to get so that they can get forensic evidence for the police to possibly catch this individual that committed this crime, and also they can get medications to prevent pregnancy, unwanted pregnancies, and diseases. You don't have to pay for these exams; they are free. And normally, it's a very intimate environment that you're supposed to have, very, very sensitive. And you, as the person who has come in for this service, has the control over who does the exam and how many people are allowed in the room. Now, again, this is not my first time when I ran into this bean eating bitch having these exams. So I know the routine. I know how it's supposed to go, how it's supposed to work. It had been explained to me over 2 dozen times. So for this bitch to try to tell me that I can't have the nurse that I choose, her going in and I have an appointment with one nurse and she goes in and changes it up and implements herself into the exam room, and I say I don't want it, and she tries to force herself on me, I have to choose her. And from now on, is what she told me within her own words. From now on, it's going to be me and this other crazy ass drug addict, crackhead bitch that she chose to do my exam. And I think I went maybe a half a dozen times without being able to get the proper medications, which is what they were trying to induce, because this is what they're trying to accomplish. They want me to become pregnant. Guys, put the do the math. They wanted me to become pregnant so they can have access to the child. And now you're going in and out of the hospital, having to have this prenatal care and this, and because when you're gang stalked, you learn pretty quickly that going into the doctors and going to the hospital is pretty much not a good idea. But if you've got some reason why you have to be in there, they're taking your blood and going all up in your ass every 5 seconds, this is what they want. Part two.